All right, so you sent over this really interesting article about Amazon buying Zoox
Yeah.
back in 2020
Uh-huh.
for like $1 billion,
They're black
right?
money, yeah.
We're gonna like dig into this whole thing and see what it tells us about where like transportation and delivery are headed.
For
Like what was Amazon thinking and where could this all lead?
It's a big deal, right? I mean, $1 billion
Yeah, exactly.
and this cognitive market research report you sent,
Uh-huh.
it's like it gives us this really almost a future perspective looking back
Oh, interesting.
from February of this year, 2025,
Right.
on like what it all meant,
Yeah.
the motivation behind it,
Yeah.
and the potential long-term impact.
Huge implications.
Absolutely.
So our goal in this deep dive is to basically unpack, the thinking behind Amazon's $1.2 billion bet on Zoox.
Right.
We want to look at the potential ripple effects on things like deliveries, logistics,
Uh-huh.
maybe even how we get around cities.
Yeah.
And really put this whole thing into the bigger picture of self-driving vehicles and all that.
I mean, it's a bold move, right?
Yeah.
Just that headline number, $1.2 billion.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
tells you right away that this is not just like some small adjustment to their strategy.
Right.
This is a major statement
It is.
about where they're going.
Absolutely. So to really get the why behind that kind of investment,
Yeah.
I think we need to understand who Zoox is,
For sure.
beyond just like
Beyond the name.
another tech company, another startup.
Exactly.
The article describes them as, an innovative startup focused on self-driving technology, founded in 2014.
Yeah.
But there's this phrase in the article, ground up approach.
Oh, yeah.
What does that even mean?
That's the really fascinating part, right?
Yeah.
So Zoox wasn't taking existing cars and like trying to retrofit them,
I see.
to make them self-driving. They were like, no, we're going to design and build fully autonomous vehicles from scratch.
Specifically designed for cities, for moving people around.
Interesting.
It's like a clean slate approach, right?
Yeah.
So they could optimize everything for self-driving from the very beginning.
Makes sense.
Unlike those companies that are trying to adapt traditional cars.
Right. That must have opened up a whole world of possibilities, right?
Absolutely.
You're not limited by existing, like chassis designs or steering wheels or any of that.
Yeah, total freedom.
So what was the big problem that Amazon was trying to solve that made this approach so attractive to them?
Well, the article makes it clear. Amazon's main motivation was this idea of completely transforming their logistics operation.
Okay.
They have this huge,
Okay.
constantly growing e-commerce business,
Right.
and they are always looking for ways to make things more efficient.
Especially that last mile, right?
Especially that last mile.
Getting the package from the warehouse to the person's door.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
It's
but
complex.
it's expensive.
And there are a lot of moving parts.
Right. So how did Zoox technology offer a solution to that?
Well, think about it. Self-driving vehicles
Mm-hmm.
could potentially slash those last mile delivery costs, right?
Yeah.
No more paying drivers.
That's huge.
No more benefits, all those expenses.
Yeah.
Plus, you can optimize routes.
Right.
You can improve fuel efficiency.
Makes sense.
And for a company that delivers as much as Amazon does,
Right.
those savings, they add up big time.
It's like a competitive edge.
A big one.
Yeah, you're painting a picture of a future where those delivery trucks driving around are all autonomous.
Yeah, it's not that far-fetched.
But the article also suggests that Amazon had even bigger goals in mind
They did. It wasn't just about delivery.
on just their own deliveries, right?
They were looking at the ride-hailing market.
Oh, wow.
They wanted to take on Uber and Lyft.
So by buying Zoox,
Yeah.
they basically got a head start.
A huge head start.
Right. They didn't have to start from scratch.
Exactly. Zeus was already developing a robotaxi service.
Oh, so they had the technology.
They had the team, the tech, even a working prototype.
So Amazon just sort of leapfrogged years of research and development?
They did.
I'm just imagining,
Yeah.
what if your Amazon Prime subscription came with, free robo-taxi rides or something?
Interesting, right?
How would they weave that into their existing services?
Yeah, lots of possibilities.
And what would that do to transportation in cities?
It could be a major disruption.
Now, if we step back for a second,
Okay.
this acquisition also fits into a larger trend we're seeing with Amazon, right?
Definitely.
They're really embracing AI.
Big time.
It's not just like a side project for them
No,
anymore.
it's core to their strategy.
It's core.
Think about it. Alexa in our homes,
Uh-huh.
AI powering their recommendations.
Yeah.
Robots in their warehouses.
Right.
So self-driving vehicles, it's just the next logical step.
The next frontier.
Exactly. And Zoox brings that deep expertise in AI-powered autonomous driving. It's a natural extension of everything Amazon is already doing with machine learning and automation.
Right.
And who knows where else that could lead.
It's exciting, right?
Yeah, there's so much potential there.
So this wasn't just like a random impulse buy, right?
No way.
The article mentions thorough market research. What were some of the key findings that probably caught Amazon's attention?
Well, the sheer growth of the autonomous vehicle market is just staggering.
Yeah.
We're talking over $500 billion in the next few years.
It's hard to wrap your head around those numbers.
It's huge.
And that's driven by all these advancements in AI.
Right.
Connectivity getting better, how people want to get around changing.
It's a whole new landscape.
So any company looking towards the future,
Yeah.
a market that big, they can't ignore it,
They can't.
especially a company with the resources that Amazon has.
Right.
And it all ties back to that growth in e-commerce.
Yeah.
The more people shop online,
The more deliveries you need.
the more you need efficient and affordable ways to get those packages to people's doorsteps.
Exactly. And the article actually highlights this. Last mile delivery can be over half of the total shipping cost.
53%, they said.
53%. That's insane.
That's a huge chunk.
It is.
So Zeus's technology was addressing a real and very expensive problem for Amazon.
A very real problem.
Plus, the competition in autonomous vehicles was already heating up, right?
Big time. Companies like Tesla,
Yeah.
Waymo, Cruise,
Right.
they were already making serious progress.
So Amazon needed to get in the game.
In a big way.
And by acquiring Zoox, they instantly became a major player.
Yeah, they bought their way to the front of the line.
It's like gaining a foothold in this, like, rapidly evolving and potentially transformative industry.
Yeah, it was a smart move.
Now, one thing that might surprise some people is that sustainability was a factor in this acquisition.
Right. How does a self-driving car company fit into Amazon's environmental goals? Well, the key here is that Zoox was developing electric autonomous vehicles,
Oh, okay.
which aligns perfectly with Amazon's climate pledge.
Right, to be net zero carbon by 2040.
Exactly. So it wasn't just about efficiency and saving money,
It was also about
no.
investing in a more sustainable delivery infrastructure.
a long-term vision.
Smart, hitting both the economic and environmental angles.
They were thinking ahead.
Absolutely. So this all happened back in 2020.
Yeah.
The article gives us some updates on what's happened since then. Amazon hasn't just been sitting on this investment, have they?
No, not at all. They've been actively supporting Zoox's vision.
Okay.
Continued investment in research and development,
Yeah.
testing, expansion plans.
One of the big milestones was that unveiling in late 2020
Oh, yeah, the big reveal.
of Zoox's fully autonomous, purpose-built vehicle.
The one designed specifically for cities.
No steering wheel, no pedals, like you said.
It's a radical design.
He shows you how confident they are in their autonomous system.
They're betting big on this.
Right, to design a vehicle that completely takes the human out of the equation.
Yeah, no human driver needed.
And Amazon clearly values the people who made that happen.
Absolutely. They even offered additional stock compensation to keep key Zoox employees on board.
$100 million worth, according to the article.
Yeah, they didn't want to lose the brains behind the operation.
Makes sense. You invest in the technology.
Yeah.
You got to invest in the people who built it.
Exactly.
And they've been putting those vehicles to the test in the real world, haven't they?
Oh, yeah, they're out there on the roads.
Not just in simulations anymore.
Real-world testing in California.
Makes sense.
The focus has been on safety, making sure they can handle all kinds of situations,
Right.
and, of course, navigating all the regulatory hurdles.
Which brings us to the challenges they still face.
Yeah, there are a few bumps in the road.
It's not all smooth sailing to a fully autonomous future, is it?
Not quite.
The regulations around autonomous vehicles are still evolving.
Yeah, it's a moving target.
Getting those approvals, proving the safety, meeting all the different rules and standards.
It's a complex landscape.
It's a big challenge.
It is.
And then there's the competition, too.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget about that.
Tesla, Waymo, Cruise.
They're all pushing the boundaries.
Zoox has to stay ahead of the curve.
They do.
They have to keep innovating.
But, they have Amazon's backing.
That's a pretty significant advantage, right?
It is. They have the resources to compete.
So looking ahead, what's the big takeaway from all this?
Okay, well, I think it's clear.
Yeah.
Amazon is serious about AI-driven mobility and logistics.
Yeah.
This acquisition is proof of that.
Right.
As Zeus's technology gets better
Mm-hmm.
and closer to being ready for prime time,
Yeah.
We're going to see more and more of these autonomous delivery vehicles on the roads.
It's going to change how things get delivered.
It's going to make things more efficient.
And potentially cheaper, right?
Cheaper, faster, and maybe even greener. And then there's that potential for Amazon to become a major player in the ride-hailing market,
Yeah, they could really shake things up.
offering those robotaxi services.
Imagine hailing a ride with your Amazon app.
It's crazy.
It's not impossible.
It could change how we get around cities.
Absolutely.
And more broadly, we're likely to see continued improvements in Amazon's overall logistics,
Yeah.
thanks to AI and automation.
They're constantly optimizing.
So to sum it all up,
Mm-hmm.
that billion-dollar investment in Zoox,
Yeah.
it wasn't just a random purchase.
No.
It was a strategic move with multiple goals.
A multi-pronged attack.
Revolutionizing their logistics,
Mm-hmm.
disrupting the ride-hailing industry,
Mm-hmm.
aligning with their AI and sustainability goals,
Mm-hmm.
and securing a place in the future of autonomous transportation.
A bold move with potentially huge consequences.
Huge consequences, both for Amazon and for everyone else.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Now, given everything that's happened since that 2020 acquisition.
The progress in testing, the advancements in technology.
Yeah.
What do you see as the biggest hurdle that Amazon and Zoox still have to overcome
Well, that's a tough one.
to really achieve their vision for autonomous transportation?
I think the biggest challenge is public trust
Oh, interesting.
and regulatory acceptance.
Right.
The technology is moving fast. That's not the issue.
Okay.
But getting people comfortable with the idea of fully autonomous vehicles
Yeah.
and making sure regulators are on board.
That's huge.
That's the real hurdle.
So if they can clear that hurdle,
Then we're talking about a future
yeah,
where transportation is more efficient, maybe even cheaper.
and more environmentally friendly,
Yeah, greener cities, less traffic. Who knows?
that's a pretty compelling vision.
It is.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
You got it.
Hopefully this has given you a clearer picture of what Amazon's doing with autonomous vehicles.
A glimpse into the future.
Be sure to let us know what other interesting topics you'd like us to explore in future deep dives.
Yeah, keep those suggestions coming.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See you later.